shall say free story about qual Benjamin Sesko in Sensem no. No cre up to date. Manchester United for a slow neoma. Between Manchester and Newcastle. See my wait me the bid. Akoma Leipzig Newcastle Bobokono. Manchester United Bobokono Enfa bid enkoye. Manchester any pro transfer akasa. Manchester any Benjamin Sesko akasa. Omo nyina no omo twen say Manchester United the official bid ebeko. Manchester communicate ache Leipzig for ne say omo nya abotre kakra mfa omo Manchester United. Na afi na Manchester for omo gada eye omo first official bid. Na omo prepare bid no e dia bre Leipzig kimpanyin for. Na omo hwen kratem enti Leipzig for enya abotre emfa Manchester United. So communication e free Manchester United e call Leipzig kon ye say munya abotre kakra man na afi ne ye boaboa ye nkrata no. Any documents ano any proposal near the Abraham Namatimi Atrim. So Manchester and far bid encoy. The only club between Manchester and Newcastle, the official bid akoma Leipzig no Newcastle. And Pokrano Leipzig for say omunso. Newcastle for bid no the coin 75 million euros. And add-ons near 5 na kwakoye 80 million euros. Leipzig forces says Kanusa. No mo beti any offer Pokrana. Beti 80 million euros a face amount. Na 5 million no aye add-ons na akwakoye 85 million euros ana omo kwakwakoje eno ana Newcastle for no ehun second Benjamin Sesko no oye bad boy opese oslu omo Newcastle for no down no match Manchester for bid no
na
United for the oma catch Leipzig for so munya abotre kakra mo ma fe no mo de eboabo omo ne oma no de aba
okay.
Enti Newcastle for na ama Benjamin Sesko ni pro transfer 24 hours. So mo fa decision in Brabontin. Yes. Because Oma won say Oma catch Newcastle for so munya abotre. Ana Newcastle for nenya hint say Benjamin Sesko ne pese munya abotre na omo twe delay omo kakra twe Manchester for de no mo de be kono. Because they say Manchester for ni ready to bid the same amount as Newcastle for the koye. Enti Newcastle for na catch pro transfer for no. Ana Benjamin Sesko say omo 24 hours. Omo obi anti ase say ope Manchester onka so ope Manchester. So ope Newcastle no onka no njai se munya abotre mo ntwen kakra munya abotre no. No mo nya nkra sa emreko. Enti mama Newcastle ama Benjamin Sesko 24 hours. So on funny decision in bra. Manchester for so patch e wo Leipzig say yesre ma munya abotre kakra ma enti ye twend ye ba akosie. Leipzig kona no amuso so atonkra koma Chelsea for say ma basem ope Xavi Simons enna ne so ko say beto Xavi Simons amamwa yeso so ye be hia replacement enti Chelsea for mon ka mo ho na mon fa musika mbra because yeso so any Liverpool for kasa ye kwa Harvey Elliott abaye Xavi Simons replacement enti say omo Leipzig for no betimenya Harvey Elliott every Liverpool no ababa be Xavi Simons a replacement I just say Chelsea for aba be tuo musika for Xavi Simons no matter says can no bi e dia koma Liverpool akwa Harvey Elliott enti Chelsea for mon ka mo ho na mon jai go slow na mo yen because Liverpool for so my pressure
na Chelsea train Simons dem
so on person bo ne ba form kakra enti omo so ato Chelsea for nkra say omo pe omo ni Liverpool akoka Harvey Elliott onkomo Liverpool twen agiska ana omo so twen age Xavi Simons sika
Chelsea sika no ene okofa Harvey Elliott
ababe replacement enti omo so ato
Harvey Elliott
so akwa ye problem o na on say so humi di okọ we free space bo boku ni na Daniel Levy a communicate a che papa friend say Thomas Frank say obema no a good replacement na on say already Rodrigo dia wa communicate a che Real Madrid for so obetena Brazil Real Madrid for a player Rodrigo wa communicate a che Real Madrid for say obetena na Daniel Levy a promise Thomas Frank say enfa hu say Rodrigo say obetena Real Madrid boboku ni no onu abe lead sa negotiation lead deal no se so you mean e kwa e wo say omunya a player ni mu eduo oye proving player omode ne ba spare supporters na ni beje enti ono Daniel Levy na nkasa e de sine na so akwa akosia Real Madrid Florentino Perez se ope eye Rodrigo ono ana obeye son humi replacement Our ma promise Rodrigo Mpokra £180,000 a week. £180,000 a week. And Daniel Levy see on lead negotiation for Rodrigo no be son human replacement. Now un say Liverpool
on the best starboard.
na je say starboard ni dia ba be yo no ba be kudu se free say Rodrigo die baby o no o soro say kudu se un say Saturday na ye ka say Hilal for the official bid akwa koma Liverpool for Darwin Nunez. Liverpool the one person turn Darwin Nunez because of Isak. Say Isak be beninti no. See my friend say Hilal the one bid dey call 70 million euros dey call ye no. Un say AC Milan for so any Liverpool for din come for Darwin Nunez. AC Milan for so the omo wagim. Na me nim vime kra AC Milan. Mo amu niska so mo players ane boede. Enti AC Milan for so de Liverpool twetwe nkomo. Na kino nim say two teams no be no ha wetimi ne Darwin Nunez akasa. Agreed deal. Darwin Nunez deal no. Yes say e Liverpool na team tin ne omo kasa. Boy na nkasa obi an ni agree. AC ni agree. Hilal ni omo agree. By Hilal for na your margin say Liverpool for je omo bid ni etuma ansa na omo Darwin Nunez ene ni representatives akwa akuhia. AC Milan for so person ni Liverpool wie ansa na omo Darwin Nunez akuhia. By assistance now AC Milan, Hilal, Obienu are with me agree with Darwin Nunez. The only team on Darwin Nunez I agree, was Napoli. By Napoli, so went to Liverpool for Henry. Now Isak Dieno. And now no pay Isak Eddie 3 hours Newcastle. On training ground so. Odi 3 hours. Meno ka say ni legal team and ne representatives England. Riley as o communicate ni legal team ababa bedru omu free Sweden ababa bedru the representatives ababa bedru meeting ne bekoso se still na no Newcastle for ntiase ho ana transfer request ne bebom enti transfer request e ba ni nyina no e ka ho bi normal ne legal team no ne lawyers no ababa piem England enti ye twen the meeting ba akosi on say Liverpool for say omo ogidie say e kire so pass so a latest by 14th August die e wo so omo nsa e ka e ya branch e friend say e Isak. Na Thomas Partey die ni say so obi anim say Partey ene VAR die ne die okwa sign to 2027 wakoye ne medical team na VAR for coach Marcelino Garcia Tora and pushy for the deal. Marcelino ekache VAR penny for say on say new season on bebo UEFA Champions League or pese onya quality and experienced players e won finfin already or Dani Parejo or Denis Suarez or Papi Gay into osenya Partey eka ho a ono Marcelino Garcia Tora na ebeboa no na ken onim DSC session of VAR for supporters protest can't anka de bema me a arehosem ana ye nua Thomas Partey FM na session of VAR for supporters ne say enam 5 rape and sexual assault ayede abo Thomas Partey no session of VAR for fans ne so mo ntiase enti protest na ekoso so say o ye VAR supporter na ompne Thomas Partey de ne so a omama baby a odu protest ne beko fans mailbox no akoka wa adwen de akwa mpanyifo no the reason why you say Thomas Partey join a VAR obobuku no enti anu bi na yade atu Facebook ni TV so
mailbox ne
fans mailbox into ye
omokochocho nsemu no
say no watch the reason why you say Partey join a VAR team no
but when they catch since Sunday movement here how do they charge obi a na ye really say case na and I say
ye bua ne for cry
e didn't here
I won't say omo ni say e bad
charge no o ma charge no afa no oba be court
sure
o court a ye be kodi asem no but asem no ye nya ni ye kra no
untimi conclude
but obo so no mu nya
oba conclude sa na akwa areho sempa eba
enti we ya Villarreal for na asase omoye other clubs no every single ground should be a party be ko Spain be obi
even VAR for nankasa
na mo amode me ba no kra no ma start we ya other clubs no be obi ko bia
ombehru no enti a serious protest na ekoso wo VAR no ha adwen
but study and the answer ya ha adwen wo we assist
pa
say asem siri nya charge wa na eno
na ye cloud ni mpokra se umpokra no se de ye de to so na nya sa na ti still no kra na di na se Benjamin Mendy bad nti VAR ko ken enti supporters ne say protest na ekoso ye nua Thomas Partey after say yes so akoye na medicals no na on say Real Madrid center back Rudiger ne contract ebe 2026 wedi 32 years na Madrid for air pen a long term replacement na only player is say Real Madrid for asa ase di nkomo Oscar na say opon yes
na say no person o replace Rudiger or Madrid
Madrid or a long term replacement for Antonio Rudiger Oscar na say opon
no
osi akan wo Granada on say Accra Norte obo Emmanuel City Football Academy wa Accra and odi kopie mu Spain Real Madrid for hu ne say Accra we or just 20 years but he 6'1" and the ball no be very combative to say Rudiger into mu ne say Oscar na say opon a long term replacement ama Juni Calafat any best of you agency twetwem komo enti they say the Oscar na say opon the eba no na PSG ni Juventus ni Kolo Muani de no ken PSG for say no onbeji loan ni kura atuma ebeye loan na obligation to buy no Juventus abi to 50 million euros and na Juventus for say Kolo Muani de ne bo no wosoro enti anka loan fee no onbetua 10 to 50 million euros na obligation to buy no akwa 30 million euros Brentford abawura Arsenal so mo Petrozad Brentford abawura Arsenal say omo Petrozad na no Saturday anam de betu anim say Trossard ne Martinelli transfer committee wo Arsenal on person mo ton baako ama Teta de waka say Trossard nie Martinelli nie baako ntina ono coach ne pe Martinelli Brentford for abawura say omo Petrozad Bayern for say Kim Min-jae teams na ba so omo pe no by the salary ni teams ne ba na omo ko oje 12 million euros a year teams ne se ni sika no e wo soro na Bayern for hu say Upamecano PSG for na tata no omo center back Upamecano Bayern for ni si PSG for na tata omo enti Bayern for decide say Upamecano omo be ma ne contract extension to 2030 Upamecano contract e 2026 Bayern for ni si omo be ma Upamecano contract to 2030 na Barcelona Hansi Flick a communicate a Gerard Martin say obetna
and am I impressed by
yes Gerard Martin
across the board better
easy okay omuni Inter emu ye den no onra bi no ye coach na communicate a Gerard Martin so obetna on say na Barcelona epe Alex Grimaldo every Leverkusen enti o maka chen say Gerard Martin ebetna na Ademola Lookman de no waka Inter for on side Ademola Lookman under roof agency so say year ago Atlanta for ne promise say Otnana team be the 35 to 40 million euros ba on budget
the one can agree
ye hu the okanokre enti dia akwa akosie no na Manchester United for decided so beton Mason Mount yes Ruben Amorim and the 9 so say a branch dey friend say Mason Mount no onimbo na ankasa ebo na midu wie no kra no mahu say omre ne ko Ronald Araujo o say Barcelona fans no watete yebeton me and they say ba say chire ho no eye Pau Kubasi ni Indigo Martinez no Ronald Araujo no afi we ayasim no season we afi na Barca for be who the best version of Ronald Araujo
yes say between Kubasi and Indigo Martinez
say the Kubasi ni Araujo Indigo Martinez na first choice
one no betime to omo mi no one betime
say the na say yakwa to say Indigo Martinez so form na no adi
I say Indigo no dey on center back on there
on is number 1 and today say oyire no na Pau Kubasi but say season we okase nyankopon ni monyam inshallah ono Ronald Araujo Ronald Araujo yebemu the best version
Ken me da say na asam ne de kwame Daegu no boy ni nti na we nya fem e kasa Daegu de
Daegu for no say na you born in Musa
Ken
player na ya ade na Daegu for na
South Korea league no omo ye 12 teams the worry or that for Daegu for
e was South Korea
omo na are omo about 24 games we win 3 omo about draw 5 oh they yes but I'm just giving out information say omo about 24 games when we need 3 about draw 5 and then kind in 16 losses omo lose bet 12 games oh bet 12 games no we win game obi a sha wo to na wonim Daegu for na de tene say Daegu community no omo governor dia nti omo ska mba chonti ase omo ska e no mato nsa dia fresenka team ya de o South Korea nke ye mfre omo na are e wo omo lake nti
omo na Barca show mo 5 no
aye
team awari wo Korea
omo no bet 12 games omo win game omo tese woto obi a show woto sa but that is not the point. The point is that Barcelona for ehwe kwan obafa so abo bobo na throughout the 90 minutes ko for 9 ka ball 2 pair Barca penalty box ni oh no man be nti but I say a drew game be say a training game and until na first half for side the entire team I mean it just nyema wo dey trainer me say Gerard Martin na wa man abo as center back but Alejandro Balde na why invented kakra no aba be share midfield a normal game and coach no on try sir and the coach no try never be bree and a man Gerard Martin e overlap from the center back wall ekoye sa cross no that boy onimrika tuo te say Alejandro Balde on team boss left back na enkane na hodi aba mu boni bi onye sa na emom ne attributes a onim ye ne say na 90 me ball into a cross ya eye pa ba say ohia good winger pa when we obeha no onye sa type of natural fullback no be kwa ba David onye sa but the attribute onim ye no onim ye pa say yon cross ball ene de onim ye
I just said about Lewandowski.
Well in terms of
Rafinha so run a couple no
say you know Sebasa Asia team on be dominate pa no a Gerard Martin can play but difficult games there might be serious say you don't want to try him but then see one thing throughout the games of Marble so far about Vessel Kobe or Shomo 3-1 or Soul or Shomo 7-3 and then they was 5 into like 15 goals and was conceded 4
in 3 matches
in 3 games 15 and we conceded 4 but the 4 no crowd were conceded you know and then one conceded goal that is positive name one thing you clearly observe about this Barcelona team the second say in terms of tight spaces none of the Barcelona players in the name tight spaces control it to say Dani Olmo. Ken Dani Olmo ni die o mani pa 3-4 ejina ni nchanya. The way this guy takes the ball and get the ball into space for the player for first one Befano. It's beautiful. Anyway, Daegu the enye kasatin team bia but ye be against Komoni ahwe the meeting yako. Ken remember transfers in Imuna let's also divert kakrani enhwe clubs no MPP some de om tear jerseys eba tear jerseys no a chamfoni actually baby a club ni free now normally when we introduce jerseys now they want to educate us on a lot of things but MPP no yeah I drink one e bisu so aye nim na enemy that someone Arsenal for release omu tear jersey e de aba na de bia me catch you say club bia woninchi any baby omu free. The last time I was telling you Manchester United Lancaster and Yorkshire for omo railway department and a nipa no na adwen say yenkwati boboku and echire be Manchester United the same way I was telling you the last time say Manchester City na ya sorry St Mark church St Mark church say yenti asori na fei nipa no mu bia won Manchester wa mu di sebi no yemfa football entro momba asori mu no ene adane aba Manchester City I to say Tottenham Hotspur na nkwada school children bia no more St John's Grammar School ene name one say Tottenham Hotspur Arsenal Football Club. Give me the jersey, let me tell you something again. Kent, take me back to 139 years ago. Ken, yanko na fe mamno nkobo nkomo kakra na afi yantwe nyina adwen kosi ade so kakra. This is 139 years ago. 1886. Osha screens no so a nipa na omonwan machines ahodo. Samra no na akon ewo wiase Arsenal. Denti Arsenal ba ye na jersey me be kire ade kakra wo. England anase UK kro no wonyina no baby a omo kwa akon a omo ye omutuo eye omo machines awodo e de kwa akon no eho no eye baby a na Arsenal asifre na eho ye Royal Arsenal eho nie e na me de aba e wo hwe wo screens no so this is 1886 e wiase atwam ko nti nipa no a eye sa etuo machines ye niam UK for the kwa akon no eye sa ankofo na department ba ko ye fa na Dial Square Workshop and na boys ni bi se nie sa dia ye adwuma ni wi a ye tete wa ye nya hwe let's form a football club and omoto no Royal. In fact, initially, na on department na omoto so Daegu Square Workshop Football Club. And then in name na ebeye Royal Arsenal listen say sa company na nkasa no. And the UK kwa omkoji etuo ni ade again. This is why Arsenal are called the Gunners. I'll come back to these things because and the UK ni na omkoji omotuo. The last time I was telling you say omko kunu wia nipa no soldiers fo no omko na omkodi akon no sanso ba omoye nkokora na ye de omko baby at Chelsea went na Chelsea from pensioners no. Inti was Arsenal for no eye etuo ni Chelsea for no soldiers for no kwa akon ba. No mako until Chelsea for a former pensioners e were links kakra but the Arsenal one no for company name for picture of the company mam now for yen hade department no mo ti Arsenal lanka sanka se free ni e fa the Daegu Square department today and ne kra na one picture ni nie we 1886 na fa and ne de na mame into 110 clearly you will see from the picture clock no na and Arsenal for unveiling of the Jesse no franoma meso na menchewade again omo unveil using the clock into when we say clock that way we say normal picture it is not. Arsenal are going back and telling you say now we are taking this Jesse back to where we belong to. Two the hybrid conversation Ken the last time I make catch you say Arsenal lanka so move in North London no baby Arsenal fi Woolwich I was South London na emrebi ka Arsenal ye gunu na papa if an Sir Henry Norris abeji bobokon Sir Henry Norris on na Fulham ayane dia remember I will have time to explain this papa no escapa on na Fulham yane dia if you do remember my bear history be a catch say Chelsea so in komo dey ko bo Fulham mu si Saturday na Fulham ye strong inti papa ne be so Arsenal mu no na against all combining Arsenal and Fulham and the clubs ni ko TC mu unim clubs om ka so mo mpene Chelsea Tottenham. And our papa say okay, omonti ase dia. Wakonya asase e wo North London to oyi club ni dey fit South London. E dey akọ North baby at Chelsea and the Tottenham. We also saw Chelsea Tottenham wrote a letter to the Football Association say, "Yenti ase ne enti ase china." Because to Arsenal ain't free North London. And papa ne say o skandidi mu they took Arsenal there. Inti Arsenal ankasa ni chief in North London. Ni chi Woolwich South London. But in your day, papa ni sika o and odi ni nemu abebie. Inti e ho no kwato hybrid. And mama Sir Archibald. And again, I'll have time to explain this. Ken Archibald no papa on that television is the kenhwe ni pa. Onu na see Stamford Bridge. Papa yi. Onu na see Old Trafford. Onu na see Goodison Park. Onu na see Anfield Stadium sanka sia ni nyina we England ni nyina Sir Archibald we and see. Inti when Arsenal sikeni say Henry Beji club no the club no call from Woolwich to Highbury no so basic stadium no and all the man Archibald and Archibald see ya between 1913 to 2006 93 years you see now say every season now it will be the 20th year Arsenal every Highbury eba say omo current stadium inti the picture and I said the jersey you are going to wear. If you're an Arsenal fan, first of all, Arsenal are taking you back to where they belong. I don't afraid the Gunners because I want to tour any idea England for the quack or no one of free too. Yes, almost also catch us says our season way and the last season nobody free hybrid. Into two things. First of all, Arsenal are taking you back to those hybrid days and they are taking you back to when Arsenal were created. Let us be okay. Ademola Lookman. Ni situation no o menhwe ni ye afa na afa Napoli hwe kwa mo fa so treat Usman na hwe kwa Ademola Lookman Atlanta for na so a treat him but you see Adem ye kasi ye hwe from the player side that will not be fair to Atlanta. Last year Ademola Lookman the 14th Ballon d'Or show 14th. No was Rochen Saka, was Rochen Kopama, was Rochen Nico Williams. Last year, African best Ademola Lookman. Ademola only 32 or 27 years. See, a 27-year-old player, 14th on the Ballon d'Or, African best. Say Atlanta cassette, you have 50 million euros. Number 5. What come on it? with this current market? This is the first question I want to ask. Because at the end, we need to look at from both sides. You can see Ademola Lookman and some into we are all giving in favor of him, and maybe we might not be right. Into maybe say with this current market here, say who go eketeke obi aton 95 million euros. Now Ademola Lookman are African best. When you're 14th on the Ballon d'Or list, no, because for 50 million. I mean, come on. I think it is a fair market, and it is a. Are they in Inter Milan? If in fact, say Inter Milan ending the role Ademola be play part ending the importance of Ademola Lookman. Why is it that they are refusing to add only 5 million to their initial bid of 45 million? Add the intra. And I want to ask questions before we come to the whole issue itself. Because Inter Milan ending the role of Ademola Lookman. What the 5 million, I can 45 million you want. Can you burn you? Now, and they should not drag you out to the extent they say, boy, no, add a transfer request to call. I am not too happy how this thing is dragging because last year, time a PhD for buy only 20 million buyer, Atlanta for some money. Atlanta for say, no, budget 45 million as at last year. Now, so budget 45 million last year, this year, we're 50 million. Why are you born here now? I understand the arguments like, oh, the Italian clubs are not treating Africans right. Yes, sound common as a kakra. But choke, African best, 14th on the Ballon d'Or. Ademola Lookman, who is not 30 years, he's just 27 years in this current market. Ken, your boss are, Obiantobo, Inter Milan should pay. No more respect to Atlanta for no. Now Ramos Hoylon, Nkofo Ekrobutu ya say. And you're the same club. Now Ahmad Traore recruit na or your small boy. I think they pay almost 40 million euros. Now will be Ademola will chip in. I'm telling you, on one way chip in one to distance. Come on, now Ahmad Diallo crowd those days, which almost 40 million. Ramos Hoylon over 60 million. Now we African best. 95 million euros. Oh, you know, you're African, but we're chipping who too much. Come on. What was it? Yeah, need the quite a high margin.
Could you say 60?
55. Okay, euros, yeah, 60. Yeah.
60. And Ademola Lookman 45. 50.
African best too.
African best.
And I almost won't find a review. I said, Biggie.
Biggie Brain, the others of the Abano, as I said, why we want to be up with you. And
na minim adekonti akwaku kana asema because improve you
mo so mato bi mu a na me no kwere ne ha adwen
oh one dey no kre na Holland dey yakra na season na eto no was 9 goals
no so no Champions League goals
of course Champions League on United top scorer last season Europa on I think second top scorer Europa in for Manchester United. But in domestic trophies, another competition, and what I can make, and say domestic competitions, and then I had the body qualify for Europe. It is a one to me and if you year. I had then one qualify for Europe, quite the way to me. I know.
I feel we no goes. I want some creative chances.
Can I know your opportunity for Manchester United game, maybe. And for whoever that feels a Manchester United team, na year complete, let's be honest. Manchester United bono, and yet that bad. But all the not the company so far, per matches are my whole Premier League summer series in the yesterday's game and another Manchester United's worst performance. Not necessarily because of a draw derby, but when you draw on the free man, the performance of the players on the day, then your performance, I'll be to me a young crunch at the frame. Aside there, no, I've said before, the Manchester United Bobo okay. I had to say they were talking that time would be a 4 to 4 and then now there was another 4 in the Manchester United team. You said the goalkeeping department, their problem was, and now I tell by in there, Ebabeda goal posting for Manchester United. How Manchester United considered the first goal? Goalkeeper ayabo ball. Now we save the ball or punch the ball the 2 on and go to Everton player and him. No one's a man on the ball.
I don't know one kind of person.
And until I make us say, me ball and I make us a problem for you. I was coming to talk about the midfield. So na me chance here free dey wo dada no. Enu afọ Ugarte dey ken. Say obi ni Ugarte. And enu an ohwe na. Me nya sure so bebo Ugarte din papada. He was the worst player in the Manchester United team. Enu am finfin hono. Eri obunamo. Kwan omo fa so handle no finfin. Ball no ontimi nkita ball ni ye. The distribution was poor. Obi bre no ogye no the man nso so ano akwa say ball no. Enti ni tokuro na na edam finfin honom. Clearly, Manchester United needs somebody. And it looks like say the problem for Manchester United Ken, your supporter limited expectations. At least team no is playing well. There are certain players that almost glimpses of good football. Ohe players need be one mount to be young crunchy womb. And now go na miss in mount share, you know. And you go na corner. And you go a Manchester United supporter. Obe bomb pie so bit me who makes mount I'll get it back to the best of form. Coach and also try so boy in Bomo as a force number 9. Man whom Bomo ye in that position. Ken, oh no, I'm not saying he's a bad player. And no maybe a coach and then a boy, you know, as a force number 9. No. Man whom Bomo ye, that was our position. No, mostly no person track it back. No, but being a boss, they been so yeah, a ball. But all in all, I think say it was a good exercise for Manchester United. Ken, Barcelona is having a very good exercise in Asia. Yes. Barca supporters need to be real problems because they don't feel say I was saying Barcelona bought high profile games. Games are not the games are so. But in preseason, Kaka minimum of football. And they say when you have a lot of players coming in and only a number 1 and a number 2, who need the core of your team? And also with team now performing in the past season. Over person will be high profile games. Now they are access to team very well. No I should ball our team neighbor. Say because season now Baba be remno. Ube share team to more strong, team to more wording, team to more stubborn. Money bet me how. It will be high profile games. Now they are accessing team very well. Now you coach our own the But the Barcelona team we are talking about, a Barcelona team one. Players be amabo bokonim. That is number 1. Number 2. Players don't want about Barcelona bobo konim so omo ma me status. Omo baba be backups. Enti Barca won the team wo hono mo dada. So it is just like say ope bibi dey hit up no dey akwa ko season ni mo. Ope games bi keke. Now the new ones are omo bat team ni mo no. And the academy players no. Wa mo opportunity no mo so abokaka. Na wiase ni nipa so wo mo nso betimi aye for bobo ko no. Aside eno, the previous season Barcelona performed poor. The performance was good. Barcelona won the Spanish La Liga. It's the coach in the team that are on a team that is performing. It will have few exercises just to warm the players up into the new season. And for me, I believe that the kind of exercise at Barcelona and Asia no, are good for the team. Gerard Martin, so a Barcelona player. To say Gerard Martin, near more when you set in Barcelona, looking at certain players, I am be a Cologne. And you be no one about a person Tom or one corner. Ken, I was always very careful. Now we improve your performance as a player. Last season, time ana Barcelona be here Gerard Martin pa was time Alejandro Balde prior. But about the prior, the minute you be there dance here. Said the left back, I no be here so be feeling into the shoes. No one bought to the standards and performance of Balde, na Barcelona nyabi. Not even 50% of the performance ana Balde dema and a Gerard Martin dema. There were games he was good, especially here Baba be season no. But where Barcelona needed him most, he always fought to deceive. Against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, mistakes are leading to goals. Now if you play a friend said Gerard Martin, Barcelona, was against Inter Milan. Say you home, say you away against Inter our Champions League anymore. Play a lot of mistakes. Emma Barcelona loses our game, no man to be on the final stage of the competition. Now you play a friend said Gerard Martin. And upon all these mistakes, beyond mistakes, I have certain qualities to be possessing. No more another opportunity. Can say a player, you don't have to relent. I was making sure so working extra hard because I need to be an Albanian say a bit more performance in the training, but yes, your monko. Some are even proven. Obit Saro, or proving who are Barcelona, a injury no nyae, and a poor run of form and a buy, or no ponam 24% quoko. Now we are improving point to be improving our Barcelona. It's a very good opportunity now when you keep faith in him. And also making sure so when we pay that kind of trust and faith with good performance. Ken, there is one player at Arsenal. A hammer at the player in this situation. But such is life and football. Player American wants some Gabriel Jesus. It has gotten to that point. A highly possible say was a player and free Arsenal ball. Moving from Manchester City, an experienced player, and our Premier League, you know, Arsenal wanted to build something new with players more experienced, any younger players, because some people are competing for the title. And almost shots yes, more fat players, or more high experience, you know, and will league him Maba, and a Gabriel Jesus, and to be play Arsenal ball. The first season for Arsenal, Obayana, Obaba 11 goals, will league no assisted 6 times. That is last 3 seasons. From there, player in a player, why are consistent with games? Because injuries hano. Obe pra. No I fit, no ababa community, no science were pra. And January, and Onya ACL in an FA Cup game against Manchester United. And there are other players almost Babi Remoa. Almost about with high expectations. As now the Joker Saba. Joker is in one of my Kai Havertz on one ton. Even a ne, Mika Marino Crampo, you to me pushing him on the number 9. And my numbers the mass now, and last season was clear, none of the numbers in you good. But for a player like Gabriel Jesus, at the point, one of the best players in the English Premier League, a top-notch striker in the Manchester City team, today also finding a way out because we are falling down the pecking order. It is disheartening just because of injuries. Because Abranti and clearly can one child that say we need quality no nimbo, but the plan about the sign to a player now sits on our boboa. Uni be boboa, I don't be boboa. I get about call bit me I their tiny cheaper, and it's all about bumpire their tiny cheap. Nobody injury free because there are certain injuries about players are brabo more, and him that the performance, any career, and the progress can.